Okay, it's time to start soldering here. I'm gonna use a little bit of flux. I've got some nice 4060 solder. That was recommended. I've got my fuse wire. I do have a 4-cell balancing harness here that I'll solder into that. I also need to get leads. I don't have those yet, but I will get those. I've got my pair of scissors. So let's go ahead and start by putting a drop of solder on each battery. And this is kind of dangerous because you're actually taking a hot soldering iron and you're putting it on the battery, and you don't want to spend a whole lot of time there. My soldering iron here, I believe it's a 60 volt, or pardon me, a 60 watt soldering iron. So you want one that's pretty hot, so that you won't have to spend a whole lot of time there. Alright, with everything ready to go here, let's start out by putting a little bit of flux on the battery. And there we go, now it's finally starting to come out of there. It's just a flux pin I have here. Alrighty. So let's put that aside and let's begin soldering. Got to be really careful, especially with the positive side, because if you put way too much solder on there, you're going to end up, you could end up shorting it out because the ground is not very far away from that positive section. There we go. It doesn't take much. There, that's all. And that battery is not hot. It did add a little bit of heat to it, but I'm not still sitting there, concentrating on that. That's why it's so important to have that hot soldering iron. So let's do the next one. Just getting a drop on there on each one. Alrighty, there we go. That is good. That is all you need to do that. You don't need a lot of solder. I tend to get way over rambunctious and put a ton of solder on there, and it's just unnecessary. So now let's turn it around and do the other side. Alrighty, there we go. We got both sides done now. The solder's on there. We can actually just kind of let that sit. I'm going to unplug my iron for now because I need to go and choose my positive and negative leads. I didn't do that before, so now I kind of got to stop what I'm doing and go choose that. Okay, I've got my two leads made. I got my positive, which will go right there, and then the negative will be on the bottom. And unfortunately, I couldn't find any more male 16 to 14 gauge connectors, so I ended up using a 8 to 10 gauge. It's okay, all you do is you fold it over so it's twice as big, but it'll work. So anyway, so we're not going to put those on next. What we're going to do is go ahead and install our 5 amp fuse wire. Alright, so this will be the positive, and we're going to turn it over. Now we're going to go negative to positive, do our series connection. So let's go ahead and just take our re-plugged in and hot soldering iron, and we'll hit this positive one, remelt this down. There we go. Just add our little wire there to it. There we go. We got a nice connection. It's actually pretty easy. So now the negative side, same thing. There we go. Very little time spent on the battery. That's good. So we got our fuse right there. So then we can cut that off right here. And now do this negative to that positive. There we go, that one nice. Oh, I shorted it out. Did you see that? I hope the camera caught that. I actually touched it. And I think it shorted out between here and there, so I think I can still use that. Did not take long. I don't have that on there very well. Well, that's why I use a little screw here. There we go. I'll be darned, I did not plan on doing that, but what I did is I stretch those, touch those together. We'll have to see if the camera will show that. Okay, then our final one here, the last two cells together, the negative to the positive. There we go. There we go. Nice. It doesn't take long to make sure that's nice and tight. So there's our, well, I'm going to short that out again if I'm not careful. Alrighty, there's all of our connections. We got positive, turn it around, and we got negative to positive, they're connected, turn it back around, negative to positive, they're connected, and then negative to positive, turn it back around, and here's negative out. So that's good. Now we need to check this with the voltmeter just to make sure that it's working all right. Okay, let's check out the voltage here. So I forgot to mention something very, very important. What I did is I drained these batteries down to about 3 volts each cell because I wanted to have them pretty much dead. I think it's a really good idea if you're going to be soldering on batteries. They should be pretty much as low voltage as you can get. So I drained them all down to 3 volts. So it's a 4S pack, so I should have, I already tested them, they're all about 299, 2.99. So I should have about, yeah, there we go, 11.85 volts. So, yeah, it's working. Yep, there we go. It's working all right. Okay, well, we can continue on now. So now let's go ahead and add our hot and negative wire. So we'll just get the old flux out here. Which seems to be kind of empty. Oh boy, now it comes out of there. Alright, that's too much, but alright, let's get some solder on that. We'll tin this thing because we're going to be yet adding the balance leads to that. There we go, that's all the flux burning away. There we go, there we are. So we should have enough solder on the battery there to be able to just simply attach that. So we'll melt our solder down and then put that on top. There we go. Okay. That is good. I'm getting that a little too close to the battery there. Alright, there's our positive. We're still, like I said, going to be attaching that, but let's get these leads on there. Make sure they work. And now, a little bit of flux on the negative wire. Alrighty. tin that. And now we need to turn that over. Wait a minute. No, we're back on the same side now. Okay. The other one, the 3S pack, was on opposite sides. But this one, because I got an extra battery in there, is going to be here. So okay, come on. It takes a little longer to melt these on there. Should be good. We're going to need some more solder on that for the balance. Negative. There we go. That's perfect. Whoops. Okay, there's that. So now let's test this out as well. Just to make sure it's good before we move on. 11.86.